Hi, welcome to this podcast-ish with us. My name is Amira, and maybe we can introduce ourselves.
Hi, my name is Sasha.
Hi, my name is Andhika.
So all of us here are connected by two things. The first, we are colleagues in work, we work together. And the second is that we studied in Japan. So the reason why we met this podcast is because a lot of our friends always ask us, what is it like studying in Japan? How did you get there? I mean, what are the things to prepare? And we were thinking, why not just make one video about it? So this is going to be a video where we share how did we get to Japan?
Okay, you first.
Yeah, let's go with Andhika first.
What? So how
Did you...
I...
Yeah, maybe... Okay.
The preparation?
Maybe we can start by sharing our backgrounds.
Okay.
Maybe you start, where did you go to college and...
Okay, so my college is basically learned Japanese studies. So for years, so I can speak Japanese, but not that good. And then after graduate, I work in the local and Japanese company for about 3.5 years. And then in 2015, I decided to continue my study, especially about my master degree. And then, so 1 year before, I went to like a Japanese education exhibition in Jakarta, and then they held like every years. So I tried to find so many things, so many information about to study in Japan, and then I found one good university that really fit to my preference and my goals. It's located in Kyoto. The name is Doshisha University. Doshisha University is a private university and one of the top in the Kansai area, which is in the west side of Japan. And then,
what did you study?
It's a business administration.
MBA.
MBA, and the global. There's two types of the class, and the global class and then Japanese class. Japanese is mostly about the employee class. So they have employee class. So the class started at night, and then they also have a class in the Saturday and weekends. So basically like that.
And so, but you were in the regular class.
Regular class and the global program. So international class. And basically we are gathered for more than 25 countries with 40 students,
cool.
more than 40 students in one class. So yeah, that's how it goes.
Do you want to start? And maybe first introducing our backgrounds, and then we're going to get through the process. Maybe Sasha, do you want to start your background?
Okay, so I first went to Japan in 2012. I still remember clearly it was March 29. And then I went there for the first time. Before I went to Japan, I actually have no background of Japanese at all. I could introduce myself in Japanese, but that's about it. Like I could read hiragana and katakana, but that's about it. And then I went to Japan solely just to learn Japanese because I was really interested in Japanese culture and stuff. But then after I went to school, to Japanese language school in Japan, I started to really like Japan and I wanted to go to school in Japan. But then if you want to go to university in Japan, you need how do I explain it, like a TOEFL for Japan? It's like for
it's JLPT, right?
JLPT.
Yeah, JLPT.
So for university you need so basically JLPT is a Japanese language proficiency
proficiency test.
JLPT. So there are 5 levels. So N1 is the hardest, N2, N3, N4 until N5. And N5 is the easiest. But if you want to go to a university, you have to be able to get N2 level. And at least N2 level. But at the time, my skill wasn't that good. So I had to actually take N5 first. And N5, N4, N3, N2, and so I just learned Japanese for 2 years until I actually got back to Indonesia to actually learn more Japanese because I feel like it wasn't enough. until okay, first I want to explain where in Japan.
Yeah,
So I went
sure.
to this little city called Yamanashi. So it's like 2 hours ride from Tokyo. So it's pretty close to Tokyo, but it's like it's a total countryside. It's a
Rural area.
It's rural. It's not rural, but like there's nothing there. Like literally nothing. It's like the place is filled with obasan and oji-san, uncles and and it's just very very traditional. It's not traditional, but like it's not
village.
It's village-ish.
Yeah.
Place. So I went to a Japanese language school there. Why Yamanashi? Because it's freaking cheap. Like you can it's totally cheap, and the rent in Yamanashi is also very cheap.
Compared to big cities, right?
Yeah, compared to Tokyo.
Compared
of
to
course.
Tokyo,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
okay.
called. Should I explain? No, I mean like if you Google Japanese language school in Yamanashi, you definitely get it on the first page because it's very popular among Southeast
What's the
Asian
name of
countries.
it?
Unitas.
Unitas.
Oh, you went to Unitas.
I went to
Unitas is very popular actually.
Popular.
Yeah, it's very.
It's like a Kofu, right?
Yeah,
Kofu.
yeah,
The
Kofu,
city,
Kofu.
the city is called Kofu.
I went to
I
the
see.
one.
One of my friends is also.
Yeah, I went there.
two
Actually, February Samo.
Yeah, one of
our
colleagues
colleagues
also.
here went to I don't think he went to.
Wait, so you went to
No.
Nihongo which is like Japanese language school in Yamanashi?
for 2
2
years,
and then you went
I
back?
went back to Indonesia to because I feel like it wasn't enough, and I don't
Okay.
think I want to continue my study in Japanese because I feel like it's a waste of money. So like I feel like I could learn it by myself until I get N2 at least. So I went back to Indonesia. I took N2 and got back to Japan again since I already got my N2.
How long were you in Indonesia? Like after you finished your Nihongo Gakko and then you went to Indonesia?
No. 6 months, kinda.
6 months and
Yeah.
then you went back to Japan.
I went back to
So
Japan
you used to
because
come back first.
Yeah.
after.
You didn't know that.
Oh, we
You
didn't know.
never told
We
us.
didn't know.
What the heck?
I thought
back
that it's
home.
just like the
no,
after
no.
graduate and then
Yeah.
because like
okay.
if you finish school and then you don't have any more student visa, you can
Right,
you can stay in Japan.
right. And then
I
so
mean,
you went back.
You can stay unless if you get caught, but like
Yeah.
no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. There's a lot of
illegal
that's
way
illegal. So
illegal way to
I
stay in
prefer to
Japan.
come back home and then learn more Japanese. I was jobless, by the way. It was shitty, but yeah, I mean, I learned Japanese, by the way. So
And
yeah,
then you
and-
went. Then you returned to
I
Japan.
returned to
Yeah.
Japan with my N2 because like apparently
Apparently you
I
passed
made
it, yeah.
I passed it, and then back in Japan I went to I went to it's how do I explain it, vocation.
It's like a vocational school.
Vocational school.
Vocational
It's
school.
Senmongakko
Senmongakko. It's
in
called
Japanese.
Yeah. So like it's very
Specialized,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very specific. Like what you want to do after you graduate, it's like you'll get the job that you really want. Like how do I explain it?
Yeah, like
so well, it's basically it's like a community
Community college?
Yeah, it's like a community
Okay.
college. So like you learn what you really want to be your career. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, so from early age, you were already like focused on just like one.
Yeah, so for just one
thing, right?
One thing,
Yeah,
one
one thing.
major. So I was majoring in design and illustration, but I also took like a well, it's basically an IT school. So you have to learn coding and stuff, even though like you really want to be focused on the
Yeah.
design and illustration. But since it's an IT school, so you have to be able to pass certain levels to get into the class. So yeah, I learned coding as well. So I learned web design, I learned everything. But like my main major is design and illustration. So I
Right.
went there for 2 years.
Okay, so let's stop there for the background introduction. Can we go to mine?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Of course.
Okay, so my part. So I finished my university here, my bachelor degree in international relations in 2014, and then at that time I was told to find a job, but I felt like it wasn't there yet, the drive to work. So but I still tried though. I tried applying to companies. I tried applying for master degree as well. And then one day, there's this advertisement about study in Japan, in Jakarta, and I went there. And then there's this Waseda University booth. And then I went there, and then they had this brochure. And then I don't know, when I look at it, it just suddenly I spot this very specific faculty and this very specific major, and I tried applying, and then
Which
eventually, which is it's in Waseda University for the master degree. The faculty is named Graduate School of International Culture and Communication Studies,
Okay.
short G6.
Oh,
Jesus.
good.
Yeah. So I went through all the hurdles of applying, and I got accepted. So like I graduated from university in 2014, and then I started my master degree in 2015 April. And then it was a study that took 2 years, so I finished in 2017. So that's a bit of my background, actually. So how about we start about the, like I said, the hurdles of first picking the school, picking the study, and the process of applying. Yeah, let's talk about it. Who wants to start? Okay, then maybe.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so how did you know that Doshisha Daigaku is the right one?
So it took me like 2 years
Oh my God,
to
okay.
decide. So basically, I'm started to think to continue my study back in 2013, which is 2 years before when I arrived in Japan. So I went to this exhibition, education exhibition, like the seminar, 2 times, and then the first one is I only want to know how the education system or university things, whatever it is, the staff, and then the faculty and everything at the first time when I went to this exhibition. So I don't have any planning at all at that time, and then I took all of the brochures. There's so many brochures there. So when you go to one booth, they will explain a little bit about the universities and about the good faculties that they have, like they specialize in one field or many things. And then I took all the brochures. I also discussed with my family as well, with my parents. And then at the second time when I went there, I already have a focus, which is I want to get the MBA. I want to get this business administration. And I applied to 3 different universities at the time. Doshisha, and then Ritsumeikan. Yeah, that's also one of the
Most popular
for the MBA. And then one of the last one is Globis. The Globis MBA because Global Business, yeah.
Okay.
Globis in Tokyo.
Okay, so at first for your bachelor degree, you had Japanese studies, right?
Right.
So why did you decide on MBA, on a business school for your master degree? It's a really like a jumping, a different, cliff.
You know what? Because it's cool.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
cool. It is.
MBA.
Okay, we can accept that. Okay,
Right?
okay.
I mean, the MBA is like one of the most prestigious
I agree.
degrees, studies, and everything. A lot of the CEO up there, like they graduate from the good university and they have the MBA or something.
Yeah.
But I also wants to study, not because I don't have any like a plan to become like a teachers or the really about the language things when I have the background. So I want to jump to other field, which is the business, and I feel that is really relate to my what I want in the future in like 10 to 15 years. So I decided to go there, and then I tried to find a university that offers a global class, which is like taught in English, and then a combination between Japanese and international communities and all of the things. I also take a look about the fees, about the tuition fees, and about the cities, because it's
important.
I will live there for 2 years, so it's really important for me to know the environment, to know the what else that I've been through for those 2 years. So among of those options, and also Doshisha is give me the first decision. I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
it
the
was
fastest.
the first.
It
Oh,
wa-
it was the first one that.
It was the first
first
one
accepted
that
you.
accepted
Okay.
me. Like that.
Wait, did you get accepted to all three?
No, just the three, the Globis one. I think it's, I don't know. The application didn't go well.
Right. Okay.
And then for what is it? The Ritsumeikan. So after I accepted in Doshisha, they still asked me about the several things that I think that in the last email. So I will just let it this, and then I'm not gonna continue my application in Ritsumeikan because
okay.
So
I see.
it's through the email. So Doshisha is quite quick response first, and then everything is, and especially this is in Kyoto. In Kyoto, I think is really good environment, really good cities for students. A lot of international students there, and then that's one of my biggest jump point to decide this is gonna be my next journey.
Sasha, do you agree that choosing the city first is also important?
Obviously.
So which goes first, the school or the city? Or
Oh man, crap. Well,
Quite hard, but at first I didn't realize that city is really important factors.
of course.
Yeah, it's a really important factors. I agree
Really?
because so back when I first decided that I wanted to go to Yamanashi instead of Tokyo, is that first, of course, obviously
because
it's a lot
cheap
cheaper.
there,
But
okay.
then again, actually so I went to the Japanese language school through an agent, right? So like the agent actually introduced you about the school, what's the difference between the
Asian in Indonesia.
about
Okay.
the school in Tokyo. Or so Unitas has like two branches. It's in Tokyo and then Yamanashi.
Right.
So like they actually told me about everything about what's the difference between the one in Tokyo and the one in Yamanashi. So like basically they just explain, other than being very cheap, the Yamanashi school is like much more quieter. Like everything is just
of course. It's a village of like
Yeah, yeah,
grandmas,
so, like, you will be-
grandpas.
you will be
Same
more-
as in Kyoto,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Like you will be more focused on your Japanese instead of like going out, instead of like playing.
nightlife.
Yeah, I
everything.
mean, it would be like super distracting, right?
Right.
Especially when you want to learn something. So I mean, I really want to like enhance my Japanese skills. So I'd pick Yamanashi because honestly, even though like it's super quiet, but like you get to talk with a lot of people there, especially with old people.
But then for your Senmongako, the community college, you
Oh,
chose Osaka,
Osaka.
which is like it's a totally different thing.
It's a
Yamanashi
totally-
is a village.
yeah,
and
yeah,
Osaka
yeah.
is like the
Osaka is
second
like
biggest
biggest
city.
cities.
Yeah, but
So
yeah.
of course you can't really use your judgment of
Yeah,
you want to
exactly.
focus on school, so you want to go to like quiet city.
But
So-
then again, so it's totally different because I kind of want to taste Japan in a different way. I mean, I've
Okay,
tried
that
Japan in like
makes
in a very quiet type of Japan, but then I kind of want to taste Japan in like a more
Like a different-
Japan. You know, when you see
Modern
Japan,
Japan,
modern Japan. Like when you see
Yeah.
Japan, you'd think of Tokyo. When you think of Japan, you'd think of what else? Osaka,
Sushi.
Like
Sushi.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, I mean, like you'd think of the night. I mean, I wouldn't say nightlife, but like the hectic pace of
Crowded people,
crowded
like
people,
trains.
Yeah, the fast pace. Like I really wanna taste that. I really want to experience that as well. So I pick Osaka, but I mean I've been to Tokyo as well. But compared to Tokyo, Osaka is much more.
Convenience.
I
to
don't
live.
agree.
No.
I don't agree.
I
I mean, okay.
Can I
No.
curse? I fucking love Osaka.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just
Man.
like how different we are. I mean, maybe they
You never
really
lived
like,
there. You never lived there. I have lived in Tokyo. I have lived in Osaka.
I do often go to Osaka
I
because it's
love
really
Osaka.
close to
It's-
Kyoto.
It's
It's like
the
1
best.
hour.
The people there. Oh man, Osaka.
Yeah, I
is psycho
agree.
yane.
Yeah, it's-
Psycho. They're the best.
I think still livable, right? I mean,
It's
Osaka
very livable. Like
compared
if you
to Tokyo.
if you compare the rent
the rent.
with Tokyo, like you can
Yeah,
get
of course.
like
It's very different.
a very nice
Very
rent
nice
for
rent.
only 4만 4만 대.
Yeah,
for
40
4 million. 4 million.
400 bucks in USD, 400
Yeah.
bucks.
4 million
But like
rupiah.
you can get like a really bad one in Tokyo. But like
Yeah.
you can get like a super nice and convenience rent
Yeah.
apartment for like only like 4 million
Agree.
rupiah. It's very convenient.
Is
I
it-
love it.
Okay, so I want to ask to you guys like how was the process of applying? I mean,
Okay.
from my personal experience, it was really such a long process.
It's really long.
It's such really long,
It's
and
really long
they
for me
require
too.
so many documents.
Right?
And
then,
you know how people always regard Japanese people are so strict. They are so
Right.
detailed.
Yeah.
straight.
I mean,
It's true.
It's true. It's true. It's very
Even
true.
only one document left.
Yeah.
You need to
It's
like
true.
You need a lot of papers. Oh
lot
god,
of
eligibility.
papers. Yeah,
And then
eligibility.
like your. Do you guys need the GLPD as well?
I
You
didn't
don't?
anymore because
I
we
didn't.
no because we went to international
Okay, okay.
faculties.
I
so,
needed
yeah,
it.
of course.
Yeah.
Because
But
I
for
needed
me, because mine is the management, like business schools, need to like a specific test called GMAT. It's graduate management admission test. It's like a TOEFL, but it's the hardest test that I've been doing. So yeah, so I need to prepare some tests like TOEFL. I can choose between TOEFL and
math
TOEIC
too,
and IELTS.
Do
And
you have to
then-
take like any other subjects other than Japanese and English, like math, toka?
Not
No?
really.
Oh, okay.
In my case, it's not really. And then I need to prepare a lot of documents, recommendation letters
yeah,
from my
recommendation.
boss and then my former lecturers in my college and as well. So many documents, so many. I went to post office like more than 10 times to send the
Yeah.
documents, and then the interview as well. So I had 2 interviews.
You had an interview.
Yeah, I had an interview. So one is preliminary, like what kind of things that you need to prepare first, and then the second one is like a more serious one. The interview is like what you're gonna do with your degree
I
and
see.
how
Oh
it
my God.
will
Wait,
be.
was it through Skype or
Skype.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then like after you graduate, how you will like to
Wow.
I don't know to apply your skills to your society, to your
Yeah.
country, to your
I got asked that
business.
as well.
Wow, it's,
Yeah, it's the
Well,
same.
it's crazy.
In my case, I can resonate with you that preparing all the documents were really
Tiring.
tiring, struggling.
yeah.
But I got lucky because I didn't have to have an interview. I just needed to
Why?
submit all the documents. But in preparing all those documents, you really need to go through like a very like back-to-back process to your lecturers, to to your previous school. And then you also had, I don't know if you had this, but you had to make so many essays.
Yeah, essays.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
made
what's your
essays as well.
motivation?
Yeah.
What is yourself in like 5 years? How
Right.
this degree and study going to help you
Right,
in the
right.
future?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I
Exactly
got
the
lucky
same.
because I didn't have to go to an interview, and because in Waseda the administration is the best.
Yeah.
So it's the best. I mean, they were very responsive. They're very quick to
That's cool.
respond.
Yeah.
And then I got in.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like I need to go through interview as well. I mean, it was. I was in Indonesia, so it has to be done through Skype. And
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just jump into our summarization of our tips and trick on if for all of you who want to study in Japan, please do it because it has been like, at least for me, one of my golden years in my 27
Same.
years of life.
Yeah.
So okay, I have summarized all the tips. So please, Sasha and Dika add at me.
okay.
First, the tips is research.
Do
If
a
you
lot
wanna to study in Japan, you go to like Education Expo, Japanese
Right.
Education Expo,
Right.
Bazaar.
You can
Bazaar.
actually you can go if you live in Jakarta, like you can go
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Japan
there's-
Foundation. Like they will give you so much information
Yeah.
about like a lot of schools. But then again, you have to search by yourself. Like you have to make sure that you really want to go to that exact school. Like you have
Yeah.
to be able to find a lot of infos and like bits about your school.
Or if you really want to go to Japan but you still don't know where to go, which school, which city, what kind of subject, there's so many information out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, go to Japanese Education Expo, go to Japan Foundation,
Yeah.
go to the one in Sudirman.
JASO.
JASO as well.
JASO,
I mean,
yeah,
they're very helpful. Yeah,
Japanese
so-
Association for Students Service. Yeah, it's like the
Yeah, just
JASO
research,
organization.
and look into so many. If you find universities, you look into what kind of studies they offer.
I mean, if you're lazy enough, like you can actually. I mean, there's like a lot of like Japanese school agency. So like I went.
Agency. Go to an agency. As well.
Go to an agency that they'll definitely help you with a lot of things. You can ask them anything. So like I mean, for my case, like I asked an agency to help me with my school as well. So like they actually just kind of provided me with like a lot of like a list of schools. So like the one that interests me was like the one I mentioned earlier. It was like an IT school. So like I picked that, and then they
help with your application.
They helped me through application.
Okay.
A lot of informations, and then they're like the wingman of me and the people from my school there in Osaka. So like it's very helpful.
That's tips number 1, research. Tips number 2 is that if you are still confused about where do you want to go, like which universities, maybe you could start with the city. So if you are really into like big city like
Kansai,
Tokyo or Osaka, or like you want to go to like some very village-ish cities in Japan,
that works too.
Maybe you can start with the city, and in the city you can really you can narrow it down to what universities they have.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because there's this admiration of cities. So, and you're gonna live there for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So you really gotta be in a city that you really like.
Right.
Yeah, and also there's tips number 2. Tips number 3, please be. It's not persistent. It's
like strong-willed.
Please be
Strong-willed,
strong.
yeah.
Please be strong because
You have to be.
Don't be like the homesick for after a week.
Yeah, I mean
It's
like
really-
if you're not ready, and like so I have. So like this I have a story. So like
Please
my
do
my
share.
kohai my
junior.
So like I have a kohai, and she's from Indonesia, and then like she left the school for just 6 months until she got in Japan, because like she couldn't bear with all the language barrier, the loss in translations and everything. So like you need to be super ready before you decide that you want to go to Japan. You have to learn about the culture, you have to learn about a lot of things, you have to learn about how the Japanese actually act, or how they just like how they live their life. So like you have to basically learn about it first. I mean, if it's not. I mean, if you can't really get along with their.
how do I
explain?
Habit.
Customs. You probably won't stay for a long time. So like, make sure that you really want to go there, and make sure that you really have an interest of Japan, because like, man, if you can't stand a lot of things,
I agree.
You probably won't stay there for a very long time.
It's gonna be really different with Indonesia.
It's super different. I mean, so before I went to Japan, I mean, I had interest in Japan, but like I didn't know that I would. I got culture shock. I got culture shock.
Yeah.
Even though like I had an interest in Japan before, but like when I first stepped my feet in Japan, like, oh shit, everything is so different.
Everything's so different.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk about it in our next podcast.
Sure.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
Can I add one
sure,
more?
sure, please.
So this is related to a scholarship. I think
yeah.
a lot of
Scholarship,
you like
scholarship,
really interested about the scholarship, because it helps you a lot in terms of financial funding. So in university in Japan, it's same like in Indonesia. So they have like a batch for you to apply. For example, in my case, I applied to fall semester, which is starting in October, and I need to like apply 1 year before, and then they start about in November. So November is gonna be the first batch. It's going to until the 5th, so it's gonna be the end of the application will be closed in around March.
This is Monbukagakusho or
Monbuko, yes, is one of them. Yeah,
okay.
it's Monbuko. Monbukagakusho. So if you apply in the first batch, you will get a lot of chance of the opportunity to get this scholarship, because every university have the quota? What is it? The capacity. Quota for the students, and some of them are even differentiate between the location. For example, there's a 5 for Southeast Asian countries, 5 for European students, 5 for Americans. So it's gonna be a lot of high competitiveness. So you really need to early bird or early apply. It's like a to buy something, right?
Yeah.
And then you really need to be in the first batch if you want to get 100% of the scholarship. Otherwise, it's gonna be like me. I applies on the third batch and I only get like 50% of the deducted for the tuition fee.
If you are, so I don't know, I mean, I don't really know a lot about Japanese scholarships, but I know that a lot of my friends were into the Monbukagakusho, which is the scholarships that the Japanese government gives to international students. I think this scholarship is the best that is there. I mean, they cover your tuition
rent
for the whole your whole study, and then they give you a monthly stipend. They give you allowance every month.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so far that is the best out there.
Yeah.
So I think Monbukagakusho always opens in April every year, or just like in the beginning of every year. So please again research. There's so many things to research, and there's so many options.
Preparation is the key. That's
preparation.
What can I say?
Okay, so I think that is all our sharing session in this podcast-ish. And then that's our tips and trick. First is research. If you want to study in Japan, please, one is research. 2, find the city that you love in Japan. And 3, please be strong. And then also for scholarship.
The scholarship one.
Scholarship. Prepare for the scholarship.
Yeah, prepare for the scholarship and find a lot of information about that.
Okay, so I think that is all for us. See you maybe in the next podcast if this podcast really works. Bye.